Joy, 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 look this way. Joy, Joy, Joy. There's Joy. Good morning, Joy. You're the only one standing, sweetheart. Oh, except for the other ones that are back there eating. Good morning, Joy. Zoom this out. There's beautiful Joy. Joy, Joy, Joy. Good morning. You're hungry. Good girl. Joy, Joy, good girl. Hey, Domino. Hey, sweetheart. Good boy. Buddy. No. There's always you. Anyways, good morning, everybody. It's Greg. I said I'd get to you when we were working on the van yesterday. So, oh geez, do I have to fix this gate too? This is my first. Oh yeah. Problem with this gate is it's so low to the ground. Hey, there's a dog. This concrete's heaving. Through the different times of the year, it heaves and it hooks that bottom because I put it way too close to the ground. So we has to fix that. I also have a better way of building log things. I don't know what we call it. I want to say furniture, but it's not furniture. Things works. I have a better way of building log things now, so we are gonna build a much nicer gate. Although I found that and it fit perfectly, but I think that's rotten, so that's not going to be used again. So we'll just build a nice loggage gatage. So I'm gonna see. Anyways, where was I at now? Where the heck was I going again? Oh yeah. Anyways, I gotta get this going too. Horses need water, rams need water. So yeah, I said yesterday when we were working on the van there, and then got distracted visiting sheep, that I would probably today goes over the new, well, I guess not really new, and you guys are getting sun in your face, the direction of where we're going here with after getting rid of all our sheep here. Well, not all our sheep, but 80% of the sheep. And how we plan to keep going and how we're going to improve things by having less animals here. So, without further ado, let's just get the stuff that's stuck on my brain right now out of my brain, because I'm just focusing on this over here. So anyways, stick around and I'll show you a bunch of stuff that's going to be going on here. But first, that little trailer mount that you saw on yesterday's video that goes with the ball hitch, we've been using that for moving this water tanker around, because using the drawbar, you can see I don't know if you can see, this goes down really aggressively. So you can see that. You see how it's downhill? That's really heavy to lift that off and get this leg set up. So it's less than ideal for filling, because you can see it doesn't fill. Carrie's into town today. She's gonna either buy us a small little screw-in bitty, or she'll buy us a whole new top link. So, of course, Mahindra. This is my one problem with these Mahindra tractors, is they tend to use fasteners that are specific to them. And then that top link right there was fine thread, whereas everybody else uses a coarse thread for the left and right hand threads that go into the top link. So, of course, we can't just run to the store, buy an off-the-shelf top link rod end and throw it in here, because that just doesn't work that way. But we got to run this over, fill the horses water. That should be easy. And come along with that, we can show you where they're at there. I got to throw hay in the front to take over to the rams, because they're not allowed out right now, because we did have one more coyote attack in the field. And I'm going to leave this here for you guys, but I had to do another video and pictures and verification for that attack. It wasn't like Stanley, it was actually quite a bit different. This was a really it's a not scared, aggressive, hungry coyote. So the way we found the lamb, and then just the whole instance surrounding the pen, the lamb was actually really, it was very interesting. But I don't know if you guys want to see that, and you want to see another video of yet another verification, let us know. Comment somewhere. Anyways, but I got to take hay over to the fat boys, the big daddies, the rams, the 13 we have now. We kept 18. And sorry, just doing the math. 18. 5 had to go to butcher. I'll put them here. That's them in the trailer, and then them in their stall at the place getting ready when we drop them off there. So those boys are off to make freezer. Well, they're off to freezer camp. Let's just put it that way. They're very nice conditioned little boys, so they're off. So we still have 10 minus 2, because 2 are actually breeding rams. So we have 13 minus 3. I'm gonna start over again. We have 13 rams. 3 of them we're keeping to rebuild the flock. It gives us 2 purebred Dorpers to breed back to. So essentially we can double our animals. Yes. And then we've got a really nice commercial ram, and he is sticking around as well, just because he throws nicer little babies for our first timers. But there, and then we've got 2 rams that are supposed to go with a couple of ewes that we've sold locally. And then that leaves us 8 more rams to 5 and 8, 5, 3, 8 more rams to fill freezers until our next lambs that are in here are ready to go. And then we've got 6 culls, so Sarah, Domino, heifers, Joy's mom, I believe is what we said yesterday. Go back to the video yesterday and Carrie will mention that. And then Faith and Radar, those 6 are off on Friday morning for cull and value added. Anything that's over a year old or is an adult sheep, they're considered the cull. If they got bad udders, withers that we've kept around for far too long, ewes that can't breed, because Faith, she can't breed, she just can't make babies. We've bred her to everybody and she just can't have babies. Sarah's blind. Joy's mom is just she's a bitch, for lack of a better word. She hates babies. She hates her babies. Heifers is a wither. Dominoes is a wither. But anyways, back to the boys. They're locked in because the coyote is really aggressive on their field. Maybe I'll show you the trail camera footage. No, the surveillance camera footage of the boys' pen in just a second here, of that coyote chasing them into their pen, and you'll see him right. We'll just cut to it now. So as you can see in there, that coyote was like right on those boys. Unfortunately, I was over at the neighbors trying to get our bale spear, dropping our bale spear off to get fixed. Oh, I gotta go buy ammunition today or tomorrow because I'm out. Anyways, so the boys are getting hay now until we can catch this coyote. Our mitigation for that field is actually, we're gonna be doing a double fence in that field. So we've got the one fence that runs along the property line, and then 20 feet out from that fence, we'll be putting a secondary fence in. We're also going to be, once I get reloaded here, we're going to be baiting that coyote to get him, because it is a problem. He was just over here yesterday, and I got to take my rifle out and find out where it's shooting, because I know what the ballistics are on it. I just can't remember what I ranged it out at. So unfortunately, I got to go fix that. But yeah, the boys are locked in, so they get a bale and a flake and a half in the morning and at night. So we got to go do that in the waters. But I'm rambling too long, so we'll just do a walkabout here. So of course, there's the truck project here that we got to work on. It's not as necessary to get done now, because the truck is only needed to take animals to the butcher shop, and it needs to do maybe 1 or 2 more loads of 6 bales, because the semi is going to be bringing all our hay. But as you can see, I started to work on our frame here. We tried sandblasting here, wire wheeling, and a stripping disc for this, and then needle scaler a little bit. But I need to get back onto this here. But I have been working on it, and I have videoed a little bit of it. There's a rear end that's got to go into it. I had it up here to pressure wash it all out. I've stripped all the brake hardware off. Again, there's video. I got to get edited for that. Oh, this would be interesting. That's a bunch of wool there. That's for another business project that I'm currently working on. We'll go over that maybe later, but that should be very interesting for fire safety. Yeah, that'll be really cool. I got to do the back window for the skid steer, so that's what this frame is here. I busted that out. There's a hinge in the back frame. So I have to fix this. As you can see, it was glass, safety glass. Bobcat wants like $600 for this. I'm sorry, I'm too cheap for that, so I'm gonna rebuild that with plexiglass and still retain the safety latch so that it's still a safety window that can just open and close really fast. And we also have to build a front door. There's the rear end, the other rear end for this project. I've stripped the brakes down on that. I haven't done much on this. Got a bunch of free parts for a truck the other day. Thankfully I got something right there for a friend of mine that keeps giving me parts. That little steering box bracket thing right there is like a $150 part. So I'm gonna send that to a friend of mine because he keeps giving me free parts. So I'm gonna give him some free parts. As you can see, the front end I've been doing a lot of work on. It's stripped down and cleaned up. I gotta get ball joint presses still to knock these out. This thing's been a nightmare, but I do have video on working on a little bit of that. So that's just sort of been my process. I'm trying to get the axles done so I can put them on wheels so I can roll them around so that I can work on the springs, which is a spring sitting there, so that I can get the suspension done so that I can put it on that, and then we got a rolling chassis. So anyways, all right, Dom, we got to just clean all this crap up around here. Those tubes are part of a feeder system that we're working on. Ben? Okay, where was I when I was so rudely interrupted? Ben was barking. So I gotta get some stuff out of here. These are all tubes for a fence line feeder system, as well as this was my work truck until the clutch went on it. Well, it's not on. The clutch went on it about 2 years before I stopped driving it, but I wore the flywheel down so bad you have to start this in gear, and unless you're facing the direction you want to go, yeah, but yeah, all this stuff here we got to make project stuff out of. That's just full of fencing stuff here. This is my other truck. I need to do this one as a backup to the truck down there. Having two heavy trucks to haul trailers would make really nice. Just a backup to a backup and a backup, which, I mean, when we talk about backups to backups, there's our other generator sitting there. This green one is the one that came with the house when we bought it. It was just in there. But the folks that had it did oil changes 3 times longer or 5 times longer than they should have. So I had bent rods, wore rings, the injector, the lift pump cam was wore right down. So it basically needed a full-on rebuild, and just at the time it was quicker just to go buy a new generator and throw it in. But I still got to fix this, and I'm going to put it into this frame that the new one came with and put this onto a trailer so that we have portable power. And then I'm going to put my bigger air compressor on the side, and then I'll have a spot to put my welder, so I have a portable power and repair station that I can take to all parts of the farm, and we can make sure we got a portable tool bank, power tool bank, that we can do repairs to, say, tractor, truck, skids, anything that breaks down on the farm. So we'll be set up for that. So we got to get to that. These are the back doors for the dump truck. So you can see it right there. These need to be cut down, hinges re-welded. This 1/8 plate that was, I'll just show you a picture right here. I'll show you a picture right there. You see that picture? So right there is what this looked like before we bought the dump truck, and you can see that was on the front. Well, we're not putting that back on. It was all set up for a water tank in the back, but that's 1/8 plate right there. We're going to use that to build the front door to the skid steer, because I want a front door this winter. We're going to get, I said, moving all this tin over. We're going to get this all stored and tarped for the winter, because we're still moving forward on getting our big barn done. We want our big barn built before we ramp up to, 100 sheep again. So we need this barn done. So we're going to tarp this and store it so it's all nice and beautiful and ready to go back together when we're ready to move forward on that. We're going to finish cleaning this pen out this next couple days, and then, like I said, I'm moving this fence line up across here, and then we're going to take these out here and fix this up here and then run a fence line down. This posts here aren't spaced properly. We want to have, so this is the corner post here. I want to have 10 feet over and then a 12-foot gate right here. So right here, I want a 12-foot gate so you can just drive the tractor straight down through there to clean up the pen. So you can push this way, go straight down, push your snow out. This pen doesn't have snow buildup, so we're gonna work on that. I don't know if that'll get done this year. We'll hope. I mean, this is post pounding and soft ground is easy. That's the hay shed, which I have every part, all the lumber to do the trusses, all the lumber for the beams. That one fell down in a windstorm. I got all these walls that we got to finish putting up. I've got ginseng cloth to tarp all the walls so that it still breathes, but it's got a face on it. So we gotta, I don't know, I'm hoping to do that maybe this winter, this spring, this fall, whatever. So we got to go in here and I got to grade all this smooth and then go way over there. See that face there? That's all rock that we're breaking up, and we're gonna base all this in rock. And then when we stack our hay in here, we'll have our hay probably up to about there, and it'll be a nice level platform so we can throw the hay on and then climb on top of the hay and then put the beams up and then maybe start setting some trusses up, because we'll have a nice even platform of about 40 or some odd bales there. So that's another plan. We're hoping to get this done and make sure we don't get more sheep than we can have hay undercover in this building. Does that make sense? So that we don't have hay tarped everywhere, because hay tarps up here just get ripped apart, and that's like a $300 waste every year. So focus on this. Yeah, see, there's a hay tarp right there that's all ripped up. So that will be mint as mint, minty mint. There's the box for the other truck. I got to fix my camper and my truck, but I'm just going to tarp the camper for now. And that truck box is for that. It's in okay shape, but for what we paid for it, I can definitely do a body work on it. Manure spreader needs some work. It needs a new deck floor in it and stuff. So I'm thinking I might go through some of my plywood here. And hey, Mr. Scorpion. That's Scorpion. Because he used to do a scorpion tail over his back. So that's why he's Scorpion. Zoom out, you bugger. So all this lumber here we picked up from another sheep farm that was shutting down. They were using those as panels, but we're going to cut those down and use those as parts of our fence line feeder. This lumber here is for that tarp shed there to close in the gable ends, and some of it is for doing the walls on this, and the rest of it is for something else, and I can't remember what. We'll just say something. I can't remember. It's always good to have plywood, I guess. I don't know. I'd like to use this stuff up because, hey, right, Domino? Yeah, because I don't like having lumber stored over here. Right, Bubby? I can't really see you very good. Right, Bubby? Yeah. Mr. Freeze, what do you think? Yeah, he's all right. Zoom out. There we go. So, yeah, that's to go to work there. Let's take a gander down here, Georgia. That's Georgia. So you can see the back, you can see the hinge right here, but the other one had a big frame that went up, and the hinge was here, and the doors were, so I want the doors low and level. Any higher, I can't load this with any of my tractors. So, and this is where the big barn is supposed to go, is right in here, and then up to right about that spot, and then across here to, I think this post here. So it's supposed to sit right in here. But we still have to build it up another 2 foot. Right, Meow? I see you back there, Meow. These are the alleyways here. Sheep are not supposed to be in this. There's supposed to be a 12-foot gate down here, a 12-foot gate up there. That man gate comes out. Fence line feeder runs down here. There's a video I did about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, when Carrie's at the IPE cleaning this out. I'll edit that and get that done. I don't know when, but I was talking about the layout of the pens and everything. So I'm not going to talk about that right now. You'll have to come back and see how the farm has evolved from when we started to where it is now on that video. And hopefully with more time, because we have this sheep. This is more. We can get videos edited on time. So there's more wool down there again for my other business project that I'm currently working on. I do have a couple meetings next week for that. So that should be another, I think that's going to take off like crazy. Just everybody's worried about forest fires and droughts, and my project for this should do very, very cool. Oh, and then this pile of manure here needs to be spread out that way, but because said manure spreader is broken, needs repairs, that's going to be on hold for a little bit here. Right, guys? Right, guys? Right. So I also need to put in right there, we need to put in a roadway that comes off, access that comes off the main road. We're going to put a better entrance in here so that if we got a big trailer, it can come in, drive out where our trailer is, do a big loop-de-loop, and then right behind the camper is where we're going to put another gate. So we got just a big, you can go out, so you can come in this way, loop-de-loop, head back this way, or come in this way and go. So we got to rebuild the barnyard, and we got to bring some of our bedrock and gravel over here and make a proper surface to drive on. Well, there's a few things we're doing. We got to clean that barn and move that one up. We got a friend that's coming up. He's an electrician. He's going to put in another camera in there so that we've got another security camera. I'm thinking about getting water lines drawn to here. I'm not 100% on that, but if that doesn't happen before this winter, that will happen next winter, which is why we couldn't sell this. This is the Backhoe on the Hobcat. I mean, it's a pretty cool little device, isn't it? I have to rebuild that hydraulic cylinder right there, but because this hydraulic cylinder doesn't match what's in our hydraulic shop's book, I have to take this cylinder apart and take the seals up to the hydraulic shop so they can match them. So I need to do that on a day that we don't need this thing. And I got to rebuild these two cylinders here. The hydraulic shop does have those cylinder seals listed in their book, so I can just go pick those up at some point. And this is where we got to put the door on. The reason the door wasn't on, because you can see it actually had a door. There's the hinge right there, and it had the full window system on it. The reason it didn't have the door is because when you got the backhoe on, you can't open the door. So the guy took it off and set it off to the side and then accidentally crunched it. So we need to do that. And then there's another place for a window right there. So we got to put a Lexan plexi up there. But this factory skid steer Bobcat, they actually had it glued in, you can see. I'm gonna get an actual weather seal to put in there, so stay tuned if you want to see stuff like that. And here's where the back window was that blew out. I was cleaning that tarp barn over there, and I had a piece of binder twine in the rafter that hooked around and blew it out. Go over that all later. And I got to do a lift pump on this too. There is half a video of that from like March. I will try and get that out when we finish this work. I got to do a little bit of repairs on that. So that's basically the long and the short of a few projects that we're going to try and get done around here. When it comes to the sheep there, we're keeping 44, 43, 44, because we kept one by accident. So it's either 43 or 44 breeding ewes. At 1.8%, which is usually what the lambing they can have over. How do I explain this simply? Our percentage for lambing, which is how many lambs our total animals can have, is about 1.8%. So I know it's going to be really weird, but each ewe can have about 1.8 lambs. So some will have singles, some will have twins. Makes sense? And that works out to, if you have 10 ewes, you get about 18 lambs. You get 1.8, so or 180%, whatever. So what that means is with 40 ewes, we can still have 70 lambs. 71 lambs? 70, 71, sorry, truck going by. Which means even with this current slowdown in the market that we've witnessed over this last summer here, because our customer base has dropped down, that still means we'll be able to keep up with our, what's that word called? I want to say, our existing customers. There we go. Our existing and our just sort of our repeat, our existing and our repeat customers. So we'll be able to keep their orders all filled. If we need to ramp up and say we need to get an extra 10 or 30 lambs, the sheep we've kept minus the dairies, so I think there's 5. So we'd have 39 or 38 ewes can actually lamb 3 times in 2 years. So that means we can actually have 70, well, it's half 70, 35. We can actually have about 105 lambs each year, which is still pretty substantial. And that gives us the option to keep less animals. It keeps our feed costs low, because getting into feed costs, we're going to go out back here in a minute, and I'm going to show you the other project we have to focus on to try and reduce our overhead costs. So anyways, but keeping less animals, but maximizing their use keeps our operational costs lower. And then having less animals, our grass will go further, and the chances of any sort of disease or bacteria or anything on a smaller flock is less likely to be run out of control. And it makes sure that us as farmers don't burn out. And we'll slowly build back up as we get the tractor repaired, because I need to do that steering right there. That needs to be, there's a seal that needs to be redone on that. It's been needing to be done for like 2 years. There's a seal in the back that needs to be redone. There's 2 hoses underneath that need to be redone. It needs the suction filter replaced and cleaned. One of the fuel injector lines, I need to redo that. So it's just because we need the tractor so much when we had so many sheep that we just couldn't keep up on the maintenance. Same with, I'll show you guys when we go out back here, rebuilding. We're doing the fencing along our easement area and then along our perimeters. It's really, really hard work for a tractor and the skid steer. I mean, skid steer is built a little bit better, even though it's a lighter piece of equipment. But that kind of work is so hard on the tractor that it's wearing it out. So the sooner we can get all that work done and get that repairs for that job, then that means that the tractor, I'm trying to think how to put this. We're wearing the tractor down out doing all our fencing work, and then some of our fences multiple times, and we'll get into that later after this incident here that we're working in with the easement stuff gets resolved. We'll deal with that later and go into more detail. But because this thing is having to do so much fencing, so much grading, so much rebuilding of our fences on the easement and our perimeter, it's getting shook out. And then when we need to bring it home, we can't have it down for too long because it's been needing to clean out the pens, because with 200 sheep, those pens need to be cleaned every week. In the wintertime, we need to move hay every 2 days. This tractor was not getting a break. It couldn't be down. It couldn't take a rest so that we could fix it. It just had to keep moving. So now with less sheep, we got some downtime. We can get caught up on equipment. Once all our building and everything, infrastructure is 100% done and in place, all our equipment, that is equipment, and I'm really hoping for just that. Once that's all fixed up and done, we can start working on improvements and building the flock back up to a larger number, because I don't have to be here doing all this crap. It's just maintenance. So it's like U-joint wears out, replace a U-joint. Fuel pump wears out, replace a fuel pump. Fuel line goes out, replace a fuel line. It's not like, oh, we can't take the tractor, I gotta go to... It'll give us a lot more time to do that stuff. And then we can rebuild with fresh equipment. We can rebuild with better infrastructure. We can rebuild with the infrastructure that will allow us to do less work with more animals. So it's definitely a thing to make sure that this farm stays around a lot longer. Because the rate we were going with as many animals and just trying to keep up on the infrastructure, I didn't think, because we were shepherding our sheep out back, I didn't think we'd make it for another year. I was burning out so bad. But now with this whole reduction here, there's renewed hope that we will build things back. And we're going to do it way better. So without further ado, I'm going to take this down. I'm going to fill this with some hay, and we'll see you guys at the horses, the beautiful horses. Okay, so the horses are not right here, they're actually over, and I don't want to film my neighbor's property because that's just disrespectful. But right here is actually the fence line. Well, actually right here is the fence line. Fence needs to be rebuilt here. I'll get to it later. So, this is our discharge hose. This is for the irrigation and fire pump. So I'm just gonna thread that onto here somehow. Thread that onto here somehow. Thread that onto here somehow. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There we go. Put this end into the horse's trough. I'll do this. Check for mice or floaters, which there is none. I'm just not going to show the neighbors there. So the horses are off eating, and then pop the valve. And then you got to remember, this needs to displace the water with air, so we got to pull the cap off. They drilled a hole in the cap, but that hole is this big, and there's, what is that, 2 inches of discharge coming out, so you can't do that. So this should take almost to about here or here for the water of the horses. They should be moving back to this side of our fence by next week or so. I gotta come over here for these guys here with the harrows, and I'll harrow all the manure piles and break it all up, so this will grow nice for them next year. Or maybe I'll see if they want to run the tractor and do it. Yeah, that'd be pretty good for them, I think. See how they like the hydrostatic drive on the tractor? Hydrostatic is basically an automatic for tractors. I would have preferred a gear drive, but I got the hydrostatic drive because I thought there'd be multiple people running it. So if we had anybody like the mom, dad, Carrie, somebody like a woofer or workaway or farm help, this is a lot easier to drive than learning how to run all the different gear patterns. But the gear pattern tractors, I'll show you here. So now we're getting distracted with tractor stuff. Oh, and that screen is very, just a sec. So hydrostatic drive, we've got, you've got low, neutral, medium, and high speed, and you put this lever into whichever one you want. Then you've got your throttle control right there, so this brings the RPMs of the motor up. This just selects what gear you're going to be running, and it's a singular gear, so you've either got low gear, medium gear, high gear, or neutral. And then these two pedals right here, this one's forward, this one's reverse. So you control your speed with this, and then that gets your RPMs up. You shouldn't run any less than 2,500 RPMs on one of these. The faster your RPMs up, the happier your hydraulic pump is. The more fluid that's moving through, the cooler it stays. So bring your RPMs to minimum 2,500, and then you can sort of control your speed with the pedals. I need to do some adjustments on those that I haven't done in a long time, so we should probably do some adjustments on that. But that's a hydrostat. Simple, just pick a gear, low, medium, high, and then that's what you run it in. So if you're doing field work, like if this was a baler, probably put it in low or medium and run it. High is just to drive down the road. Do not work it. It's way too hard on the transmission and you can burn them up. With hydrostats, you've got to make sure your oil level is always perfect. Otherwise you can burn them up. That's about it. But yeah, gear drive, you can change gears as you're driving and makes it a lot nicer to drive. But for what we need, this has been just fine. So hydrostat drive shouldn't have been really used for, because we were grading and doing groundwork. They're not ideal for that because, like I said, you don't have that really good selection of gears. It's more of, this would be okay for light duty work. We kind of used it really heavy, but if I have to rebuild the transmission, I'm not going to be happy. I mean, I can do it, but I'm not going to be happy. So take this over to the fat boys now, because we got to fill their water at some point. I don't know when. Try and load this into the bucket of the tractor somehow. I don't know. Yeah, you can barely see that. Okay, that should be good enough, I hope. Really hoping the horses would be here. One's staring at me, but I don't want to video that direction, so I'll show you something here. Got hay all over my camera now. Well, this is our fence line here. This one runs pretty close to where the property pins are. This is our snake fence that we put in. We had a temporary electric through here, but what we were finding was the sheep would go under it and the horses would go over it. So I cut a bunch of these aspens when I was thinning out somewhere, because at the time I didn't know what to do with the aspens. Like the fir, I cut that and firewood it. This stuff here, we found if you dry it for 2 years, it burns really hot, but it burns really fast, so I didn't know what to do with it. So what we did is we just cut a couple pieces like this, literally just hammered it in, maybe 4 inches into the ground on either side. See, like that? And then we start laying one rail this way, and then you put the next one on top, sort of like a log home build. Back and forth, and then to give it a little extra strength, we hammered a couple extra in the centers, and it prevents them from rolling off, because these you can just pick up. Nothing's stapled or nailed, it's just tied. And then those 2 beams right there, it prevents it from spreading. Super cheap and effective way to put in a fence, but you got to make sure you got an angle on it, otherwise it'll tip. So this is just going to work right now until this whole area here, and I'm not going to show the neighbors, but this whole area here, we're going to be putting in another overnight pen with a building for the sheep to go in and a sorting facility here, because there should be 3, this field here. We don't want to move the animals across that easement area. We'd rather just bring them in to a nighttime pen here, and then there'll be an alleyway down here. Like I said, that's where the coyote was coming in. That's where Stanley was done dirty. And then up through this area in the back, way in the trees, is where the other lamb I found the other day was done dirty. And then just up this hill here, the day after that coyote got that lamb, he got a freaking grouse up there. But you can see Rodney hanging down. That's Rodney, that little black bot. So we're gonna put an alleyway across here 20 feet out, and you'll be able to see from through those trees up our fence line all the way to the back. And that will give me a nice clear sight line. So if I see any of those little yellow-eyed, I can just point and click. Not on Rodney. Rodney's awesome. Rodney's he's enjoying the boys. His best buddy was actually Bob, our big East Friesian ram, but we sent him to the auction. I hope he found some place to go make babies, because he was a sweetheart. But he was Rodney's bestest buddy right now, because they were the same size. So, but you can see this is all bedrock here. I took a big dozer. I had a D6 I borrowed from a friend, and I came up here and graded this all out. But this is all that bedrock. Like, that's all. You start getting into that with the machine, and that stuff's great road type surface. Well, for cheap, it's great stuff, and we got lots of it. So anyways, you can see all the stumps here all the way through here. That's what built that barn. And if you keep going up this draw through here, we can actually get to the old mill site and well in there. But I'm not going to go in there. But that's where the boys are. That's their pen right now. That's that tree right there that you saw that coyote running to. So he chased them this way and stopped right there. So yeah, lovely, isn't it? There's a burn pile right there. I've got to push that out here, because apparently the ash is really good for mixing with soil that's got too much moss in it. So we're going to push that burn pile out here, and then we'll start adding more slash to that as we do this fence line. And then all the logs that come off of there, we'll stack them up like this, and we'll start cataloging them for whatever their usage. This is firewood or repairs to this fence. That is all building materials. So I'll start milling and cutting and barking all that down for fence post rails, buildings. So the bigger, thicker ones, we'll take the chainsaw mill or the debarker, and we'll knock them down, clean the ends up, and we'll set them in the ground as posts for building. So yeah, get ready for that cheap log construction. So I'm no log builder, but I'm sure I can build something. As long as you understand how the physics of everything work and overbuild stuff, not a big deal. So anyways, Rodney says we need to get over, get the fat boys their hay, and then get on to the other stuff. So there's a tractor. I'm doing my best not to show my neighbor's place, because I just don't want to be that kind of person. Gophers. So this here, look at all the dirt from those little buggers, and they brought all this binder twine over and tried to dig it in their holes. But this isn't enough wood for this winter. This might be enough wood for this winter. We don't burn a lot of firewood. Our house is extremely efficient. So well, that's all my building materials. Some of this stuff like that in there has got to just be cut up and burnt, because that's too skinny and too to use for anything. So, although it might make a really cool signpost. You see how it's got that little cut it off right about there. Find something that could go out that's got a really cool gnarly like twist to it, and then set that on top and have it come out. Oh, that'd be really cool. Okay, I'm getting distracted. Oh, and here's our log splitter. We bought this from an auction where we bought our big dump truck back at home. We bought this too. So this is all handmade on top of a steel I-beam. They've made a point, hydraulic cylinder, plugs into the tractor, and then splits our lumber or logs. So I got a pile of logs right there, and dunnage and wood. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. Oh, and right there is where we've got to bring, that's our steel building. So we got to bring the rest of that tin right where those 2 boxes are at the front, and then reorganize all this so that we can tarp it all. Yeah. And that fuel tank is for sale. If it doesn't sell this winter, I might just give it a coat of paint so it looks pretty and throw a couple new valves on it and list it for a little bit more. Because if it looks pretty, you can ask for a little bit more and it should move faster. If it looks rusty like it is, stuff doesn't move that fast, even though it's perfectly good, so whatever. Anyways, pitter patter. Let's get down there. So I just dropped the water off. I should have got a video going, me lugging that off and lifting that up with all that much water in it. But anyways, Rodney's water's out here because Rodney doesn't get locked in with the boys because he can't have their hay. I just want to show you guys. So this pen here, well, this was a pen. You can see the line. This is where our ewes were locked in, all 160 of them. Well, we were at the Classic, and they'd come into here at night, and you can just see what the difference between how the grass is coming in. I mean, that's got really tall stuff in here, but this grass is coming in thick and beautiful with all the manure and urine on it. Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. You can see the line. They were really using sheep properly. Oh, so cool. You can even see where the boys haven't really been, but this is what it looked like. You see how the boys knocked her all down? Sure made a huge difference. But these are the boys we got left. There's 13 in here. So there's Freight Train. He's one of our purebred Dorpers. He's a beast. That's Hank. He's another purebred Dorper. That's our commercial Mannyfred. That's Fatso. He's not going to look up, but he's going to make babies in Lillooet. Market lamb, market lamb, market lamb. Market fuzzy, market lamb. And then that one with his tail up is also going to go make babies. He's a son of Manny, as you can tell by the shed. I mean, look at that shed and that hair coat. And then if you lift his head, you can see the white spot. There, that's a total Manny man. And then these guys are all market rams. But yeah, he looks just like his big papa there. So there's the 13 we kept. So there's 1, 2, 13, about 5 of them. 3 are our rams and 2 are going somewhere else. But I can't let these guys out because there's that tree that Coyote made it to. So that's what we're, yeah. Till I pick that little shit off, there's not much we can do. Rodney's safe. Don't get that. There he is. Don't doubt that. Rodney's safe. So this is what this field here we call the hay field. Yeah. Anyways, we're looking at sheep now and where we're going here. So. Yeah, this here, we need to get manure spread onto this here too, which I was working on. This gate needs to actually move up to here, right here, because we got to access right here. So that gate and this gate are essentially, this is coming out, moving up here. This gate's coming out here and moving up here because this area here is so low, it just fills with water, and then you're trying to move sheep across and it's in the mud. And then the dump truck I brought in here trying to move manure, because I have a manure pile I started up there to spread out. That's from the dump truck sinking in the mud here. So that's why we've been sort of wintering or holding the boys and the ewes in these areas to try and fill these little holes in here. So yeah, all that has to move up there. This fence line that goes out back is actually going to shift all the way up and then go in right at those trees there. So, and then I got to move my rock pile out of the way, but it's not an impedance to the easement, so I can stay there for a little bit. There's our manure pile for that field. This is another holding pen the ewes had while we were shepherding them out here, and you can see the green grass. You can see that fence line. So this is where they were in, and they intensively knocked that down, and now that's beautiful. So the sooner we can get that topsoil laid out, the much better we'll be. And then this is a slash pile. So anyway, I gotta see what Cassie's doing here. She's got something that she's not wanting to leave, and I think it's dead. And she's just protecting it because I think it's a little thing. You're protecting that, or did you kill that? Okay, I'm not gonna show you guys that because that's gross. She got a pack rat. Oh, and if you guys could smell that right now. Ay, ay, ay. Unpleasant, right? Did you get that pack rat? Thank you, because it was destroying my shop. Okay, so next thing, we'll go up the road and show you the next plan of attack for expansion of the farm. We're gonna head up this way. That's the easement there. I got another access at the top onto this side of our place. And I have phase, whatever the hell, I'm not Marvel, I don't do phases. So I got next plan of whatever for before we expand too large. Again with the sheep, and I'll show you what that plan is. I was waiting for the grouse to move off here. You can sort of see his tail chipping there. So, this is the next phase of everything here. So, as you saw there, we have baler, wheel rake and mower, and then a sprayer that we bought for this stuff. Basically all of this, so the red one and all of that, and then we have a John Deere baler at home, square baler. We went to go buy this here to spray the easement and the front road in front of our property to keep the dust down for our livestock and ourselves while we're working. And while we were going to pick this up, they said for, I think, $350 extra. I think we went to pay $5 for that, and then for $850 we ended up with 2 balers, a rake, and a mower. They said, do you want all this stuff? Because they ended up just hiring a neighbor to start doing their hay cutting instead of running their own stuff. So this was running just fine and was working and baling. It had 2 broken needles in it though. So that's why I picked this up for $100, is because it has 2 good needles. So this is a 200 and this is a 220. These are both case balers. So this is a 200 case, this is a 220 case. They both use the same needle, so I bought that one, which you can see, I think this is, just a second here. So I think this is a 7 wide, and this is a 6. I can't remember the exact difference between the two, but they basically use, like you can see, the flywheel is the same, the PTO shafts are the same, the drawbar is different. It uses the same strippers and rake tines. I think the knotters are a little bit different on the top, I think, but when I'm talking about needles, what I'm talking about are these here, and you can see this has been repaired once, but these here, you got the string goes through a little eyelet, and then these go up and then to the knotters here, and then these tie off, and then that's what ties your bale and separates it, and then it kicks it out. But yeah, that's 200. And that's 220. They're virtually identical. I did have the needles for this, and I had them in my truck, and I went down to my buddy's place to weld them because he had the ability to cast weld, because those are cast iron. Cast iron's really difficult to weld if you don't know what you're doing or prep everything properly. So I took that down to my buddy's, and the tailgate of my truck came off and the needles fell out and I lost them. So that's what ended up happening there, because this was actually field ready. It looks not great, but knowing me, I want to just go through all this, clean it all up, and make sure it's all set up proper. And this rake here is just a Vicon 4-wheel rotary rake. There used to be another piece, it was a 5-wheel, but it's also missing the actual hitch on it. These are bone simple. I just need to put a bearing, and a couple of replacement teeth. This was field ready. I actually had this running one day, but I had to jerry rig the shaft to make it work because it's set for a smaller spline than is in the back of the tractor. But this thing worked fine, but there's a few improvements I'd like to do for mostly this pitman bar here, because you can see this is supposed to move up and down, but look at the amount of play there. So I'd like to fix all that and repair that and make it look pretty, because before we get too large on doing any more sheep, we want to make sure we can be ready to do our own feed for them. And yeah, this is older, way older equipment, and they've got way nicer, newer stuff now. But for us, we've been offered, like, here's a 5-acre field, here's a 10-acre field, because people know we have this, and they're like, oh, I got a 5-acre, I got a 10-acre, I got, I just don't trust, and this might be the head injury, this just might be me knowing equipment that's like, oh God, I think these are like 80 years old. I'd rather have these all gone through, like all the wheels need to be done, all the bearings checked out, make sure everything's working, so that you're not in the middle of cutting and then all of a sudden it breaks and you got to find somebody. So I'd like to go through to come in and fix and finish everything for you. So I'd like to get all these things and then the other John Deere baler fixed, because your baler is usually what's going to break if it breaks. So before we get too big, we want to make sure we get all these restored up, working good, and start getting some extra feed going. There's a lot of people, they buy like 5-10 acres and they want to use it, they want to take the grass down, they want to make it safe for fire season. And if we got the small equipment and the small tractor, we can fit into a lot of smaller places that the big guys that do big rounds and big squares, they can't fit into. So just even along here, we've got offers for, I think, 15 acres in this Barnhartvale area to do. And then we've got our own 5 at the front if we wanted to do that. This year we probably wouldn't have, should have, before the sheep went out. But anyways, yeah, I'd like to do these projects here. I think it would be fun just to work on old baler and rakes and mowers. I've done a little bit of work to the sprayer. I added the hose reel on the side. I've straightened all the arms. Whoever put the arms on, put them on backwards. It does need a bunch of new fittings because they all broke. But we haven't really had a need for that in quite a while. But maybe we'll fix that up. But I'd rather get these things running here. And I think I'd start with, because this is the first thing. You go through, you mow everything, then you come through and you rake everything. So starting with the mower, starting with the raker, and then moving on to the 2 balers. The green one and this one. And then that one's just for pots. But that's the plan there. Try and get some of those going maybe. I don't know if you'd like to see that, but I think it would be very cool to do. I got lots of junk tires, so things like that, easy enough to replace. I actually haven't been out here to take a look at them. I know the Gophers have moved into them at one time. So that's the pitman for the plunger right there. This moves in here and brings the hay into the compression chamber. And then, yeah, the knotters here. So these might need a little bit of work, but we'll see. It's been a while since I've done any of this sort of stuff. So that could be very, very interesting as I have to relearn all this, because there's no grease in any of this, but it's been sitting for so long, it's just been washed off. But anyways, anywho's, I think, oh God, Gophers have moved into there and made a mess. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. But if you want to see that sort of stuff, we now have time to do that. And that's the plan, because if we have to keep buying hay, especially this year, we were lucky that our hay guy didn't jack the price astronomically. But if hay's going to go to $300, $400, $800 a ton, well, $300 isn't bad per ton, but if it's going to go to $800, $900 a ton, you got to start doing your own stuff in order to keep in business, just in general, in agriculture. Like, shoot. And even if we just make small square bales and sell those, and then go buy our large square bales, which I don't know why we do that, but you could do that, I guess. Small square bales usually go for about 21 cents a pound, and our big square bales and big round bales go for 15 or 17, somewhere around there. So if you could make small square bales, you sell them, and then you buy the big square bales. It's just because you got to go a lot slower with your machine, so you're burning a little bit more fuel when you're making small square bales, and then it's a lot more work to collect those out of the field, because each small square bale, you got to go out and either hand bomb them or take a bale collector. So I'm rambling now because I'm getting tired. So that's kind of the direction the farm is on. Oh, and then we got the orange dump truck. That's spare parts for the big one. I got to strip that deck off of it at some point. But that's sort of the direction the farm is going to take here. I think we're still keeping the same number of lambs hitting the ground. We're just going to do it a lot better. Like I said, we'll be able to care for the fewer sheep we have, because this year we lambed out, I think, 70 ewes and we got 35 lambs due to the iodine. So if we can do 70 lambs with 40 ewes, I mean, we're doing the same thing because we've got more time into looking after those guys. So anything here you want to see, starting with projects at home, projects here, if you want to see that verification for that other lamb, any of that sort of stuff, let us know what you kind of want to see first. I've kind of got to work on my truck. I got to work on Carrie's Jeep. Yes, we do have a Jeep. The motor's in the basement. I got to finish that. I didn't show you that because I don't need to. We got some housework to do. And I got to finish putting baseboards up and some decorations in the house to make it feel more like our house. Yeah, stay tuned and we'll see what we get onto. But I'm going to leave it there because I want to go home and figure out what the heck I'm doing today, because I have no clue what the job is today. So priority one was feeding everybody. Everybody's fed, everybody's watered, water's moved around, boys are checked. We found Cassie. So I think I'm going to go see mom and dad and have a coffee and see what their plan is. See you. Yeah, subscribe to see any of this random crap that I'm going to get onto. There should be more videos coming out more frequently because I don't have 200 sheep to look at, 237 sheep to look after, which leaves me more time to put stuff together. And it leaves me a lot less stress, so my brain is actually able to edit stuff. So, until tomorrow, what's going on tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday. Maybe not tomorrow. We have a family lunch thing. So, until later, I hope you guys are having a good day. Yeah. And, yeah, I hope you guys have a good day. And everything finds you guys well. And yeah, hope to see you again on the next one.